Howdy folks, welcome back to Moondockery. Today I'm going to be talking about backpacks. Today's video is going to be a basic overview of backpacks in general, but it's also going to be the first video on a whole line of videos I plan on doing on all things backpackery. Now backpacks can come in all shapes and sizes. They could be as simple as a single compartment bag with drawstrings that are also used as shoulder straps, all the way up to an ultra high-tech, ultra modern, space-age designed, high-speed, low-drag, transformable behemoth like my Mystery Ranch Wolf Pack. Now I have a lot of general purpose bags, which means they weren't designed for a specific reason other than just being a compartment to carry stuff in with shoulder straps. I call these general purpose packs. Now the best thing about a general purpose pack means that it's also a multi-purpose pack, and most multi-purpose packs also lend themselves to be adapted and modified to fit any of your specific needs. They could be as simple as a surplus day pack all the way to a more stylish, I guess, highbrow sling bag from someplace like Maxpedition. Now there are other backpacks that tend to work much better for specific purposes, terrain, and environments. I'm going to share some of my backpacks with you and explain how, where, and why I use them. I'm also going to be pointing out features that I look for specifically whenever I'm shopping for a backpack. To be perfectly honest with you, the first time I ever used a backpack was when I was in the Army and I was issued my medium Alice pack. Having never had any exposure to any other real backpacks before, I took the rucksack for what it was. And for all intents and purposes, whatever I needed it to do, it did it well. As with many things in the military, comfort really wasn't the key feature that you would think of when you think of any type of military hardware or kit. And there were tricks that we had where we could make the rucksack as comfortable as we possibly could. But when it came to the large Alice pack, that was a completely different critter. For all intents and purposes, it was basically putting shoulder straps on a barrel and putting it on your back. They had no ergonomic creature comforts or human factor designs put into it. It was basically just a great big old bag for you to put a whole lot of crap in, for you to carry it wherever it is you needed to go. And more often than not, you look like Quasimodo when you were doing it. One thing I do have to say about the Alice pack is that it was by far the most comfortable and well made of most of the world's military packs of the time. Through the 1970s and 80s, a lot of the military forces around the world were still using backpack designs that predated World War II. And when I got out of the Army, I wound up using my rucksack for just about anything I needed the backpack for. And for the most part, whatever I was doing, I really didn't need the frame, so I went and took the frame off and put that into storage. Shortly after I graduated college, my next foray into load-bearing equipment wound up being in the form of knapsacks, haversacks, and tump lines when I got into historical reenacting. It was between 2005 and 2008 when I finally got into contemporary bushcrafting and wild camping with a group of friends. And I was pretty far behind the curve. I started off my first venture out into the contemporary wild camping scene with an old surplus CFP 90, which I thought was pretty high speed and low drag at the time when I owned it. But at the time when I started using it, it was already almost 20 years old. And it did okay. I used it for a couple years. And then finally, the yoke system broke. And when you have a very short-lived surplus item, finding replacement parts, it was, at least at that time, was basically an impossibility. So it wound up being relegated as nothing more than a duffel bag for the remainder of the life that it had with me. Now, my friends I was wild camping with, they had already been into it for a little bit while longer than me, at least as far as the research and the purchasing end of it goes. And they already had nice packs, like a Burley Stock. They had Kelty, Osprey, Arc'teryx, and even Mystery Ranch packs. And all of these things were very, very different than what I was used to dealing with. But it was very nice being able to have those packs right there to where I could actually look at them, inspect them, put them on, try them out, hike around with them, do side-by-side comparisons. And because I had that blessing to where I could do that, I wound up being able to choose what I thought was going to be the best backpack for me at the time. And I wound up going with a Mystery Ranch Wolf Pack. Now, before I made my final decision on what pack I was going to go with, there were a lot of things that I had to take into consideration before I dropped that kind of money. And what I'm talking about, dropping money, is the fact that every single one of the packs that my friends had, in my humble opinion, were expensive, especially compared to the buying the materials I needed to make my own equipment and gear for reenacting. And I usually stayed away from a lot of the things that were pre-made for reenacting because, in my humble opinion, they were expensive for what they were. So I had to go through some rethinking with that. So I made myself a criteria of things that I was going to look at and I wanted to consider before I wound up dropping the coin on an expensive pack. My biggest thing that I had to do is make sure that I had a backpack that was going to last me for a good long while. Here's some of the things that I was looking for while I was doing my shopping. The most important thing initially is that it had to be made well. So I had to look at the material that the packs were made of, not just the actual fabric, but the stitching. How well is it sewn? The webbing. And believe it or not, webbing makes a big difference. The hardware, the buckles, things like that. I looked at all those things. I was looking for something that was going to be a larger capacity because it's a lot easier to be able to buy a large capacity pack and to be able to use it for everything, as opposed to buying a smaller capacity pack and not being able to get everything you need to put in it for particular events to where you need more stuff. So it's easier to put a few things in a large pack than try to figure out what to do with a lot of stuff for a small pack. I have seen time and time again on YouTube videos and also the different areas where I've hiked where it's public hiking of people walking around like they are pack mules. They have so much stuff tied to the outside of their backpack. It's insane. Things are flopping around, making noise, things like that. Not to mention being exposed to the elements where, even like sleeping bags very easily could be soaked on the outside of these packs. And so I wanted to make sure everything was inside. So in that, I knew I needed to have a pack that had compression straps on them. That's, things are usually on the sides. Sometimes they go across the front. Matter of fact, I've even seen packs, I have packs to where there's a type of a compression strap that goes from the top to the bottom. But what that's going to ensure is that no matter what I put in this, when I cinch down those compression straps, no matter how few or how many things I have in there, it's going to hold them in place and it's going to be able to keep them in a good riding position no matter how far I travel. Another thing was comfort. If I'm going to be packing around a lot of weight, like I packed when I was in the Army, believe it or not, a medium rucksack, I had almost 80 pounds worth of kit inside and outside of that rucksack. So comfort was a big thing for me. So I had to make certain that what I'm looking for is good, adjustable, padded straps. I wanted to have a good suspension system. That means something that's going to keep all of this weight suspended and off of my bodies, which is going to include your hip pads, your hip belt, and all of this. And so there are so many different types of frames that are on packs. Some packs don't have frames. They're just rigid on the interior. And then there are others that have an interior frame. Some have a complete exterior frame, and some are sort of a hybrid. I would consider the nice frame on this Mystery Ranch pack as being more of a hybrid, but it could arguably be an exterior frame because it is completely detachable and you can use it completely on its own and in different ways. But it is partially enclosed in the pack itself. So comfort was another key. And I did not know it then, but I definitely know it now. Load lifting straps are a must. And the sternum strap is an absolute must, in addition to having good padded, durable, strong, well-sewn, well-attached shoulder straps, and a very nice lower back supporting hip belt. So that was another important thing as far as the comfort level goes and the things that make it comfortable. One of the things I noticed when I was looking at my friends' packs, some of their packs were really nice. They were streamlined. They were like Ferraris of backpacks, and they got really fantastic reviews in Outside Magazine, Backpacker, and a bunch of the other magazines. Periodicals got a lot of great reviews online and things like that. However, I was noticing a complete lack of versatility and adaptability on these, that they were too streamlined. Even my old Alice pack when I was in the Army had the Alice webbing that went across it, which you could use the Alice clips, you could tie things to it, any type of little straps you want to put on. It worked fine. Wasn't perfect, but it worked pretty good. And a lot of those packs I noticed were very specific as far as what you did with them. Like you have an ice axe or for your trekking poles. Pretty much if you're not carrying an ice pick or axe and trekking poles, that's pretty much all those little things are really designed to work with. I mean, you could probably jerry-rig them to take something else, but for the most part, that's it. I wanted versatility, true versatility, to where I could add and take away as I pleased, and with a wide variety of things, not just a specific, purpose designated thing for that one particular type of attachment point. And I found that more often than not with the packs that were being compatible with military specifications with the MOLLE webbing. Another thing I was really looking at, and I really didn't realize it was a forethought that this is something I need to focus on, but in looking at a lot of these packs, especially the ones that are made by Kelty, Osprey, Arc'teryx, and things like that, that are more designed for specifically the civilian market, is color. I have a lot of camouflage stuff. I prefer that, but I don't have to have camouflage. I would like something that's subdued, something that blends with my environment, whatever that environment may be. I realize that I can get a pack cover of just about any type of color or camouflage pattern that exists. However, I wanted to really have a pack that was already a muted tone. I did find some packs that I liked the designs, but the color options were, in my humble opinion, ridiculous. Listen to me. Any backpack manufacturer that may actually accidentally see this video, if you produce a product to be used outdoors in outdoor recreation, and you're producing that in a very bright and very vivid color, for your own bottom line, consider making the same item with muted or natural colors to offset that, because not everyone wants bright colors and not everyone wants something subdued. If you have a good design for a backpack that's going to be used in multiple environments and things like that, really consider about making muted and bright colors if you're going to use bright colors at all. If you stick with the one, you're going to lose a lot of your market. The last big thing that was on my list of considerations was the ergonomics and human factors. If your straps aren't exactly where they need to be, if the pockets that are on the backpack don't have a large enough opening for you to be able to access them, or they're in an awkward position, those are very bad ergonomic design choices. You have to understand that a good design goes by this credo, and that is form follows function. If something is on there just because it looks cool and not necessarily performing a functional task, or performing that task, inefficiently, it's a bad design. So I wanted to make sure that the design that I got was very ergonomic and really considered those human factors. One thing that was not on my list of considerations when purchasing that first backpack, which has found its way at the very top of any list I have for any purchases from this moment on, that consideration is where it's manufactured. Folks, I want to tell you right now, we are in control of the success or the failure of our country's economic success. We're in charge of that. No matter where you live, no matter what country you are from, support the manufacturers in your country first. If someone is manufacturing something that is close to you, support them first. Really try to support your cottage industries, your local industries, your small business, artisans, things like that. If at all possible, support them first. And if by any chance you cannot find what you're looking for manufactured in your country, look to your country's allies and support them. I have made a moral decision that there will be certain countries I will never purchase anything from again. And yes, I may suffer financially because of that, but the way I look at it is, if I have to purchase something from a country that I cannot morally agree with what they're doing or how they're doing it, then it's not worth having. Folks, consider that in your own purchases. And I am very thankful that I was able to support an American company for my American purchase. And no matter where you're from, you should feel exactly the same way with purchases in your country. After all the thought and consideration, about 6 months worth of research, I decided upon the Mystery Ranch Wolf Pack. It has everything that I was looking for, the quality of materials, hardware, software as in fabric, the quality of manufacturing, the stitching, the ergonomics, everything that was important to me on my initial consideration list was met in this pack. I chose this particular style of pack for one very special reason. Compared to all the other packs that I looked at, this pack is more than one pack in one. It is several packs in one. This was the first pack that I was introduced to that had a removable lid. Talk about that in a second. The main compartment has very large external pouches, pockets on the exterior, and I have access to the interior both here and through the top opening. I have a separate sleeping bag carrier. You can use this for anything. I just have to put my sleep system in here. This is actually separate. And it's a transformable backpack in that I can remove any single part of these components and use it in different combinations. I can remove the sleeping bag carrier. I can completely remove it, unsnap it, and remove it. I have an empty space there. I could strap on ammunition cans. I could strap on other larger items that may damage the inside of my pack or what's on the inside of my pack, and strap those on there and carry it. I can remove the sleeping bag carrier and remove the main compartment, drop the main compartment down to where now it's a much shorter profile backpack, a simple rucksack at that point, and it'll be perfectly fine. I have the molly webbing where I can add molly sustainment pouches, which I have used, especially in the winter camps when I have a lot of really not necessarily heavy stuff, but bulky stuff that fills up the capacity. Where I want extra capacity for lighter things, I can go ahead and put it in those molly sustainment pouches and put them on here, which adds almost 20 liters of capacity to my overall pack. And like I said, this was the first pack I was ever introduced to that had a removable lid. And not only is it a removable lid, but the lid also turns into a day pack. Now, there are a lot of packs now that have this as a standard feature. And now it's not that big a deal. But at the time I purchased this, it really was a game changer. Not a whole lot of people were doing it. And I don't think anyone has done it as well as Mystery Ranch. Now, let's put her on right like this. It even has a sternum strap. Now, the reason I love this particular feature so much is the fact I can have all of my must-have items in this pack. And I can take it off my pack, throw it on my back, throw a water bottle in there, and I can go off exploring, day hiking, or whatever I want to do all day long, and I don't have to worry about having something happen and me not having my must-have things. Folding saws, first aid kits, you name it. I have all that stuff in here all the time anyway. And now I can take it with me without taking the pack. And believe it or not, it is very, very comfortable. Now, this pack was the result of 6 months of research, planning, vacillating, debating with myself, debating with my friends, comparing, contrasting. And once I made my decision, it was a matter of saving the amount of money it took to purchase this. This was a very expensive pack. It was in excess of $700. Now, I can justify that expenditure on this pack because this backpack is made so well that it will outlast me. I will be dead and buried, turned to dust long before this backpack has worn out and is no longer serviceable for whoever has it once I pass away. 6 months to save the amount of money for this, and I had several weeks, maybe even months lead time. I think it was just several weeks lead time for them to manufacture this, because at the time I ordered it, they did not have multicam in stock. Little over a year, but I have a backpack that will last me the rest of my life, that I am quite confident I will never have any durability problems with, any functionality problems with. The only thing that will limit this pack is my own physical abilities to use it. Now, that is this pack. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a few other packs I have, discuss their purposes and how I use them, and I'm also going to be showing some of the features on multiple packs that I think are really cool and now are a standard item on my must-have lists for backpacks. I'll be back in just a minute. Now, the most obvious feature of any backpack is its main compartment. And it doesn't really matter if it's something like this, a day pack, or a great big expedition pack. They all have a main compartment. The most important thing I look for in the features of any size pack, whether it is a day pack, it is an expedition pack, or anything in between, is the ease of access to that pack. You want to be able to get into it easily and not be encumbered by anything that's going to get in your way. The placement of straps, drawstrings, things like that. You want to make sure that you're able to access that easily. A larger pack is like this wolf pack. It will have multiple entries into a pack, and most larger packs do. Like you have access through the bottom, which is great because when you're setting up your camp, most of you will be packing all of your evening stuff, your camp stuff, your sleeping bag, things like that in the bottom of it. And when you're ready to go, you just got to take that stuff out. You don't have to unload everything out of the top. And this particular pack also has access to the interior on the front. So when the pack is down, you can access it as well as from the top, which most all packs have in common. The one thing that I also have a pet peeve of, and I do take this into consideration when I'm looking at packs, is a clutter-free environment inside the main compartment. I do not want a bunch of added organizer pockets. It's been my experience that if I want to get organized with my pack, I will use sub bags or sub load packages to put inside my pack. That way I can color code them, I can mark them in some way, I can put different things on them, different types of cords, things like that. So when I'm reaching in my pack, even when it's dark, I can feel that difference and pull those out. I want to be in charge of how I organize things in my backpack. And when I've had backpacks that already had little pockets inside them, I find all that they do will get in my way, and when I'm putting things in or taking them out, oftentimes those items will get snagged on those small built-in organizer pockets. So I don't particularly care for that. I want a good, clean, clutter-free environment inside the backpack. I like to look at the backpack as sort of a blank slate. And I want the backpack to primarily be a vessel to carry my things into the wilderness for me to be able to use. I would like to be able to make the decision as to how I accessorize that main compartment. And a lot of times I've had backpacks that have had exterior pockets, things like that for organization, things like that. And that's okay. That's not that big of a deal. It's like this day pack, a patrol bag for the ILBE. This has a very simple little pocket in it, and you know that's all fine and dandy, not that big a deal. But when I see larger pouches on the exterior that's sewn into place, that's one size for only the things that will fit in it, that to me is not a plus, that is a minus. And with the advent of the MOLLE webbing that is on a lot of backpacks, even civilian packs today, that lends you a tremendous amount of potential for accessorizing your pack in any way you so desire, whether that's any type of sheaths, holsters, pouches, gear. You can use those as daisy chain loops, anything you want to do, it's there. When you have these packs here, you don't find a whole lot of that there. Like I have a special loop for my trekking pole or my ice axe or something like that, but not a whole lot else. Almost everything else on here is for one specific purpose. And that is fine for what you're specifically buying for this. You're specifically buying this style of pack for lightweight, large capacity, no frills, one basic purpose: grab it, fill it, and go. If you don't want one specific purpose and you're not really too concerned about the weight, then the MOLLE webbing is going to work well for you. It does add weight. I saw a video where someone took their ILBE and they removed everything off of it in order to lighten it up. And you know, they wound up by removing all of the webbing on the exterior that they didn't like, and a couple of the other things that was on the ILBE pack. They lightened it up by 3 pounds, but they also completely destroyed any potential for it being anything other than a duffel bag, basically. It's one compartment, you shove everything in, and that's it. If that's what you want, that's great. But when you have a pack like the LBE that has tremendous potential and possibilities, as it is, you get it because of that, and you're aware of the weight to begin with. And you want to have those things to be able to have that accessibility, accessory oriented accessibility with different types of pouches and things like that. So I want to have those loops, those tie down points and things like that on my pack. Even though I have this for specific purposes, for specific long range hikes, for a lightweight pack where everything is going to be inside and I'm not going to be getting access to anything on the exterior. You know, I want to have some versatility. I got to have something to where I can accessorize as I choose, not as the manufacturer does. Whether or not there's an exterior pocket or any type of webbing or straps, tie down points, anything like that, I'd like to have that decision as opposed to having the manufacturer make that decision for me. One feature you really need to consider is the weatherproofed potential of your pack. Certainly you can go out, you can purchase pack covers that are waterproof, things like that. Some pack covers are specifically designed for concealment, and they are not weatherproof in any way, shape, or form. They're not water repellent. They are literally just a cloth fabric to put over the pack to conceal it. Most of these come in camouflage, but they do come in solid colors as well. And of course, they're fairly inexpensive and pretty easy to get a hold of. But a lot of the packs that are made today, and this is a very old one. This was my first multicam pack that I had purchased many, many years ago. Had a lot of things going for it. The density of the Cordura nylon and the lining of the Cordura nylon really is tremendous. It would be advertised as water resistant, but with the inner lining that's on the inside and the tightness of the weave on the outside, it would almost have to be submerged, or you walk in a pouring downpour for many, many hours before it would really leak through. The biggest problem you have with any type of pack like this, as far as your waterproof goes, actually comes from the zips, the zippers. Like this little day pack here, the little patrol bag. You can see the zipper has a rubberized, I guess, edging on either side, and it helps prevent water from getting through and in through the teeth of the zipper. Now, this works pretty well, and this is a nice little feature, and companies like Mystery Ranch has even taken that one step further to where the zippers are almost completely waterproof, not just water resistant. On this particular pack, you have the Cordura flaps that come over and protect those zips from being exposed to the weather, whether or not that's snow, that's rain, or what have you, and for that matter, even sand. It will help prevent sand from getting in your pack. And if you spend a bit of time in the desert like I have, You don't like sand in every single thing that you have, including your food. Having things like this will definitely help prevent that. So weatherproofing and environment proofing is a very important thing you need to consider when you're looking at your pack as well. There's a lot of packs out there that when you're getting them for their lightweight qualities, you're going to sacrifice that weatherproofing in most regards. So therefore, if you're going to be picking up one of those lighter weight packs that have thinner fabric that is not rated for being waterproof or highly water resistant, I'd recommend highly picking up a waterproof pack cover when you pick up your pack. That way you don't have to worry about it when you go out and think, oh yeah, completely forgot about getting that pack cover. And it's pouring down rain and all my stuff is wet. You can always use waterproof bags on the interior of your packs, and that's a great idea anyway, but you definitely want to keep an eye on the types of fabrics and materials that your packs are made out of. And if you're getting one that is water resistant or waterproof, you're going to be further ahead later on down the road. Your suspension system is essentially what allows you to be able to carry that pack around on your body. A good suspension system is going to prevent your body from taking the full brunt of the effects of the weight of the pack. And it could be literally as simple as a single strap, like on this sling bag. Literally, that is a suspension system. You can have other suspension systems that are super simple. It's like a book bag. You have a basic single point of connection directly to the pack with your shoulder strap, and the shoulder strap adjuster would also be connected straight to the backpack. And it's becoming a thing now that most people are realizing just how helpful the breast strap is, and they're adding these more and more frequently, right from the get-go, so you don't have to purchase those separately as much anymore and add those on as an accessory like you used to. But that is also part of the suspension system, the shoulder straps and the breast strap. When you have much more, complex packs, larger packs, and especially packs that are designed for much greater weights, you are also going to have, in addition to the shoulder straps and the breast strap, you're also going to have load adjuster straps. And these load adjusting straps are absolutely amazing. I remember the first time that I used load adjusting straps, I could not believe it. The pack was very heavy, and I found myself having to lean into the direction that I was walking because it was uncomfortable and very difficult to stand directly upright because I felt like my backpack was pulling me backwards. So the first pack that I had that had the load adjusting straps on was once I had the backpack on and I had everything adjusted the way I needed it to, I grabbed these straps and pulled them forward. It literally felt like someone had taken the bottom of the backpack and lifted it up. The backpack felt 10 to 15 pounds lighter, and it felt much more secure to my body, and I was much more stable in hiking, moving around and things like that. It was a true game changer to have these. Even on a small day pack type of thing today. If I'm going to buy another one, the first thing I'm going to look for is whether or not they have those load adjusting straps on here. Because believe it or not, you can get a lot of weight in one of these small little packs. And to have the ability to have load adjusting straps on these, it will improve your load. It will help. It will make it feel much more comfortable, even if it's only this size. You don't have to have a behemoth like this in order to have those straps make a difference. The last part of the suspension system is the hip belt. And what the hip belt does is it takes a little bit of the load directly off your shoulders and also helps distribute that load. It helps to secure your pack to your body, and it prevents it from moving around and shifting. And if you are walking over steep terrain, over a lot of rocks and things like that, if you are moving in a particular way in a precarious situation, and your pack shifts, literally that could mean the difference between you staying upright and continuing on the trail or falling over and rolling down the hill. So having the stability of having everything in position and not shifting around and being floppy, moving back and forth, is a big deal. It's a huge safety factor, but a tremendous comfort factor. So in review, our suspension system that we're looking for, we want good padded shoulder straps that have good adjustability and good solid contact points. A lot of packs have adjustable yokes that are in here, that the yoke itself is adjustable so you don't have to adjust your shoulder straps. Some packs have the shoulder strap placement to where you can move the shoulder strap up and down to place it to accommodate different lengths of torsos. And that's perfectly fine too. So we want good padded shoulder straps, good strong connection points. We want a good solid yoke system. If there is a yoke system, we want a sternum strap, and we want those load lifters, as well as a good, very well padded hip belt that is very well secured on the pack and is highly adjustable. So that way we can share the load between any potential contact point with our body, and no one spot, whether our hips or our shoulders, is going to be taking the brunt, the full load of the pack. One feature that has become very popular within the past several years, and for a lot of companies, it's a huge selling point for a lot of their packs. And we're going to start with the simplest idea of that, and that is the lid for the backpacks. Having a lid that covers the opening to your pack does a lot of great things. It prevents things from getting in there, protects them from the environment, things like that, protects things from falling out that sometimes could wiggle out depending on what type of terrain you're on, how active you are, and things like that. But the lid is basically just a cover that will almost always have pockets, some type of entry point for you to be able to get in to the pack for things that you want to access quickly and easily. More and more often, these packs are being designed to where those lids are removable. And that is a fantastic selling point for me, because not only do you have, quick access to the things that you need quick access to while it's on your pack, you can also disconnect the lid and take it where you need it without having to take your entire pack. What I have here is I have an Osprey Ether 70, and it has a removable lid, as does this ILBE, as does my Mystery Ranch Wolf Pack. And just like these being removable, you have access to all your stuff. It takes it a step further, and it basically turns into a little day pack. And this one does it a little bit more uniquely than some of the others, in that it's not just the pocket. It's not just the pocket. It is an entire backpack. It literally turns into an entire little backpack. And I think that is a pretty cool little feature. Personally, I think it's, it's not for anything really rugged, and it's not incredibly durable. It's very thin, very lightweight, but for most civilian purposes and things like that, it'll definitely do the job. Whereas my Mystery Ranch day pack lid, that is built out of the same durable materials and fabric as the rest of the pack. So it's going to hold up to any type of abuse that I put it through. So the top lid is a big selling point. If you can get a removable top lid for your pack that also turns into a day pack, that is a plus, 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 because essentially you're getting multiple packs for the price of one. I mentioned this before. I want to mention it again because for a larger pack, an expedition style pack, just a larger pack in general, I think that these packs that have bottom entry, whether it's for just a closed-in compartment for sleeping bags, things like that, or if they are actually genuinely the bottom of the bag. This particular one is nice with like several of the ones I've had, is that you can close this portion off with a flap that's on the inside of the main compartment of the bag. But the whole idea of a bottom entry to remove your sleeping gear, things like that, I think is a fantastic plus without having to completely unpack the rest of your main compartment. Another important feature is accessibility. I want to be able to access anything in my pack that I want, and I want to do it quickly and easily. The number one way that people allow you to have access to the things that are in your packs more often than not is a zipper. The zipper is incredibly important, and you have to make certain that you're buying a pack that the company believes that and purchases quality zips. I've had products in the past, not just necessarily backpacks, but you know, the manufacturer didn't find it a priority to use quality zippers, and that product failed. The rest of the product was fine, but the zipper failed. So zippers are very important. Some people use Velcro with different parts of the accessibility for their packs. Now, the one thing about Velcro will eventually wear out, and you do need to keep it clean. Whether or not it's some type of a fuzz or lint, things like that, debris that will get in, it will clog up the hooks from the hook and loop section. You need to keep it clean in order for it to do a good job. Now, even though a zipper will make the sound of a zipper, it is still usually a little more quiet than the that you get with Velcro. So you might want to consider that if quietness is something that is important to you when you access what you need to access from your pack. Now, the ergonomic aspect of accessibility is the way that you access whatever it is you want to access has to make sense. This particular pack, it'll slide around to my front and I can access all of these pockets either from this direction or this one. And that's a fantastic thing. The ergonomics of this particular pack are very high. Human factors, fantastic. And for a specific type of a bag to where you can actually get this and you to designate specific locations for items, this is absolutely fantastic pack. And the accessibility to those items you store in this pack is absolutely fantastic. There are packs I looked at, especially when I was considering getting a really light long distance hiking backpack. A couple of the packs that I looked at, I probably would have actually went with them, with the exception that the accessibility to different pouches, pockets, areas, storage areas on the packs were not easily accessible. The entry to those areas were small. The placement of them was in an awkward position, things like that. So you really want to think about the accessibility when you're using your backpack, because when you need to get something, you need to get it now. You don't want to have to fiddle around with it and, you know, work too hard to get to it. So accessibility, another one of the items that I think is on everyone's list of features that you should probably look for when you're picking a pack. A feature that used to be much more uncommon than it is now is the ability to have an internal storage for your hydration system. And it's a really common now in just about any size or shape of pack to be able to have a pocket, some type of containment for your hydration system inside your main compartment, and to be able to have a access point for your hydration hose. Like I said, it used to be a pretty big consideration while you're going out looking at the features of packs. Now it's a very common thing, but you will occasionally find packs that do not have it. I personally think it's a good thing to have, and it really doesn't add that much to the weight and any of the other storage problems that you would normally have with other features on the interior of the main compartment of your pack. So definitely a feature worth looking forward to and definitely worth having. One of the features about my Wolf pack I thought was pretty nice, and it was the first time I'd seen this complexity of the ability to add pouches or anything to a pack hip belt. And this particular pack has a very good quantity and good quality of MOLLE webbing for you to be able to add accessory pouches. My most recent Osprey acquisition has pretty decent sized pouches that are built into their hip belt. Whether you have them built in, which if you have them already built in, I'd be very, very picky as to how they're designed. Osprey did a good job with the design of these pockets. They do pretty well, but you are limited with what you can put in these. Whereas the MOLLE webbing on this hip belt, if you want to, and I have done this, put a holster on here, knife, as well as other types of pouches. You have a lot of options that you can use with this belt that you can't with a pouch-specific hip belt. So that is a feature that I think is very important, and you're seeing that to be much more common with today's packs than you were with packs, even 5 years ago. The ability to have your hydration system in the main compartment of your pack, it's a very convenient thing, and a lot of people are using the hydration systems these days. However, the most common hydration system is still the water bottle or canteen. And most packs now will have some type of pocket built into them to where you can put your water bottles in. Mystery Ranch does a fantastic job with it. The ILBE that I have even comes with these, and I believe at the time canteens were still being issued. The one odd thing about the ILBE is that the design of the hydration pouch pockets, and I'm not 100% certain that they were originally designed for water bottles or canteens. They don't fit well in the upright position. However, when you turn them sideways, they actually will fit in the pockets just fine. And if you have the string or the connection point for the lid to the bottle, you can grab that and pull it up pretty quick and easily. I don't necessarily like this as well as I do the vertical, but they seem to work fine as long as you have your water bottle closed good and tight. You don't really have a problem with it. And when you don't have built-in water bottle pockets, you always have the ability to add your own water bottle pouches to any of the packs that have the MOLLE webbing system. One feature that I guarantee you is not on anyone's list of must-have items for their backpacks, but every single person uses if their backpack has one, and that is a carry handle. And carry handles, people don't realize how frequently they use these. And it's not just the carry handles that are at the top. You have, like my Mystery Ranch pack, has handles, lift handles, carry handles that are on the side. And when you are putting your backpack on, you approach it from the top where your feet are, and you're able to pick those up and lift it. Put it up onto your back with your arms through the shoulder straps, and it's a quick and easy way to carry it. Those larger packs, they're heavy, they're cumbersome, and when they're full and they fall over, well, you can just reach right over and grab the side handle, pick it up and carry it like a suitcase. The ILBE, as far as all the packs that I own, probably has the best zipper designs and the best handle designs. I absolutely love the rubber tubing that they put over top of any of their handles or their zip pulls. The zipper pulls, you can access any zipper pocket on an ILBE, even with mittens on. When you have these great big, wonderful 550 cord with rubber hose handles for the zip pulls. Those absolutely work fantastic and makes things very convenient. So again, it's a feature that not a whole lot of people would put on their must-have list when they're looking for backpacks, but it's features that every single person uses and uses frequently. Well, folks, you got a chance to see a few of my backpacks, a few of many, and you also got to hear what I feel are important features for backpacks. Everyone has their preferences, and these just happen to be mine. I feel that the features that I look for a backpack, if a backpack has those, it makes it a much more effective and efficient tool. I certainly hope you found the information I provided today useful. As always, folks, thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.